Hey there, welcome back friends. In this video we will try to understand the tools which are provided which can help us while debugging. So let's get started. In order to understand this concept, we will again take this old program which we have coded some time back. So in here we have these three files: read object, vehicle and write object.java file. So we will apply a breakpoint in here. Currently this line is highlighted, so we have added this breakpoint. Now let's proceed further, and first of all let me do one thing. Let me start the debugging, and as soon as we start the debugging, it will start giving us this interface which is ideal for debugging, which is cool. But there is one more thing: when we start debugging, sometime we doesn't terminate the previous instance of debugging as well. So currently there are two instances of debugging which are getting executed. So what we will do is we will end a instance. So in here, in order to remove a instance, remove a currently debugging process, we can, for example, right click and terminate and remove the thread. So this particular instance of the program is getting executed in the background, and we need to remove this. So we will do this. All right, and I suppose there is one more suspended thread in the memory. Let me remove this as well. All right, so now we have our currently running fresh application in front of us, which is cool. Now friends, in our previous videos we have checked the breakpoints, variable and couple of more things, right? Now let's proceed further and check these options, these small little icons which are available in here. Currently these icons are disabled. The reason is pretty simple: we haven't highlighted the current thread which we want to debug. So the current thread which is suspended and which is there in the memory, I will highlight this, and these icons will get enabled. Now out of these icons, couple of icons will help us to debug the application better. Let us quickly check a couple of icons. First icon is the new icon. This is what we know. We can create a new project, new example or a new file. Then icon to save the project or save as the project. These are the standard stuff. Let us proceed further. Then we have this icon, open a terminal icon. This will help us to open a terminal, different type of terminal to be more specific. This icon will not help us in debugging again. Let's proceed further. Then we have this icon which help us to skip all breakpoints. If we enable this icon and resume the project, then definitely all the breakpoints would be skipped and our application will run. So again, icon. Then finally these icons which are now start in the list will help us in debugging. First icon is resume. We can resume our application once we know the bug. We can resume and end the application with a normal termination. So resuming the application icon. Then we have the suspend button. Now this is equivalent to pausing the application, and currently the application is suspended. This is the reason why this icon is grayed out. Then we have the terminate button, so that we can terminate the application straightforward. Now interesting things are coming up. Then we have this disconnect icon. Now friends, whenever we connect with a remote program using Eclipse, we can definitely code and edit and develop remote applications as well. So whenever we want to disconnect from the remote application, then we can make use of this icon. Then we have this step onto and step into buttons or icons. Now these two icons, these two buttons are the most important things. Step onto will enter the called method as well, whereas step over will step or proceed the statement by one statement. Let me repeat it once again. Step onto will step forward your application by one statement, but if there is a method, it will also enter the method, whereas step over will definitely proceed your program by one statement, but it will skip entering the method. Now we will talk about these two icons in detail in couple of minutes. Let's proceed further. Then we have step return. This will help us to revert a step, revert a execution of a statement. So it can help us to revert a execution of a statement. Now this icon or this process of reverting a specific step is not 100% foolproof. Many statement cannot be reverted. So take a note of it. Now let's proceed further. Then we have this drop to frame icon. For example, we have a method. This icon can help us to restart or re-execute the method from the start. So understand this. Drop to frame. It will help us to re-execute the frame. Mostly the frame is a method. Now moving forward, we have this use step filters icon. Now friends, what is this filters? For example, if I right click on this debug window, in here we have couple of options. Out of these options, one option is edit step filters. If I click on this, in here there are like multiple options, out of which if I click on this icon, click on this checkbox, then it will enable these step filters. Now in here we can add filters. What exactly is a filter? Filter will help us to skip couple of classes, couple of methods, couple of packages, and these packages or these methods or these classes will be skipped while debugging. Getting my point? So this will help us to skip couple of things. Usually these are packages and classes. Now friends, in here we have couple of more options as well. We can filter out synthetic methods, static initializers, constructors, simple getters, simple setters, right? So we can make use of step filters. Now what is the advantage of step filters? Definitely step filters will help us to speed up the debugging process, because whatever filtering we are applying in here, those classes, those packages would be skipped when we will debug the application using the step filters, right? Now friends, when we add a package or class inside these step filters, make sure that the classes and packages are bug free and you are 100% sure that these classes which are listed in here will not create issues. So this is the advantage of step filters, and this is how we can make use of this step filters icon. So using this step filters, we can skip on the filtered classes and packages, and our debug process will be speed up. Now moving forward, friends, we have couple of toggle options in here. The first toggle option is, let me hover upon this icon, it's toggle breadcrumb. Now in here, when I enable this, in here this option will be available to us. This will let me know what exactly are the methods, what exact file, what exact package is there, and couple of more information. So this can help us, and this can also provide us access to our project explorer. So pretty good and handy option. So we can enable and disable this. Let me disable this as of now. Now moving forward, in here we have this toggle mark occurrences icon. Now as the name suggests, this will mark the occurrence. Now in here, for example, the name of a vehicle is occurred 4 times. So if I highlight 1, then all the occurrence would be highlighted with a gray background. If I disable this, then this functionality would be disabled, right? So very standard stuff, and this can sometime helps in our debugging. Then we have this icon, and this icon is automatically fold uninteresting elements, and as the name suggests, this will automatically fold the uninteresting element. Usually I never use it, and usually the purpose of this button is also unknown to me. Alright, so now let's proceed further. Then we have this toggle word wrap. Now word wrap, as we know, it will wrap the words and it will remove the bottom scroll bar. Let me show you. If I enable this by highlighting our file, then it will disappear. It will disappear the bottom scroll bar, because if the line is too long, then it will automatically bring the remaining content into the new line. If I disable this, then it will add on the bottom scroll bar and the complete statement would be inside a single line. So it will simply wrap the words based on the statement. Alright, so let me get rid of these additional dots. Alright, so now moving forward, we have this toggle block selection mode. Now this is interesting. Let me firstly disable this and expand this button. Currently, if I, for example, highlight these two lines would be highlighted, and the selection would be from start of the first line till the end of the last line. Cool. If I enable this block selection, firstly the view of the editor will change a bit and the icon will change a bit as well. Block selection will help us to highlight a block. For example, these two statements which are there in front of us are corresponding to one another, and we need to edit the statements of both these system.out.println statements simultaneously. Then block selection mode will help us. So we will simply highlight these two lines of code and then we will start typing. For example, let's call in the print message method. So using single effort we are achieving double the result. So this is good, and this block selection mode is helpful couple of times. Alright, so let me minimize this. In order to minimize the window, in fact, we simply need to double click on this name of the file. Here we go. So now this was the block selection mode. Let me toggle it back again. Let me make it off. What do we mean by toggle? If we click once, it will enable this. If we click again, it will disable the mode. Alright, then finally we have this show white space character mode. This will simply highlight you the white space characters in here. So nothing very interesting though. And then again we have the usual thing, debug mode, then run the mode, and couple of more things. Alright, so this is it for today's video. Hope you guys understood how we can make use of these icons, and I suppose I am missing one thing. I have promised you guys to talk more about these two icons, right? So let us talk more about these two icons real quick. These two icons are step onto and step into. Let us check these two icons. Alright, moving forward in here, I suppose two instances of same application are suspended. So let's remove one of them, terminate and remove. Alright, so if we talk about this particular file, let us add a breakpoint in here at line number 16. Alright, so this looks good to me. Now let us do one thing. Let us terminate and remove this particular application from the debug window, and we will try to rerun or re-debug this application to get a fresh start. So I will right click and debug this application. Here we go. So this looks good to me. Currently the pointer is at line number 16. The debug current instruction pointer is on this line. So we have these two options. First option is step into, second option is step over. So firstly let us make use of step over. So if I click on this step over, then take a note of this cursor. It will simply bring the cursor to the next line, and we would be able to see the output, and the output is objects written onto the file. Then we are getting the option, or the message on the console is let's call the print message method. Then we are again getting the same print message method, and then again the message, the objects written onto the file, and finally we would be able to terminate the application without any error. So everything is cool, everything is okay. Let us relaunch this application again. So I will right click and try to relaunch this. Alright, so this application haven't terminated, it is on suspend mode. Let us resume this, and now it got terminated. Alright, so this is cool. Now we will relaunch it. Let us relaunch this. Here we go. So now firstly we have made use of this step over method, and as I have already specified, step over will progress the step by one statement and it will not enter the method. So in our previous example, if we see, when the cursor is on this print message method, it will simply pass this statement and it will highlight the next statement in our current method, right? But if we do like this, if we make use of step into function, then it will enter the print message method. Let me show you. As soon as I click on this step into icon once again, it will enter the print message method. So this is the difference. Step into will step into the methods as well. Step onto will not step inside the method, rather it will go over the method. So very simple and basic explanation. So this is it. I suppose I have made myself clear. Thanks for watching, and do experiment with debugging as well. Thanks for watching.